So my background is specifically is in copywriting, actually. And so one of the things that you guys are going to have to do if you are teaching people, or you're going to be doing e-commerce for other people or yourself, either way, is you're going to want to have a replicable model, a replicable system, basically kind of a wireframe that you go back to over and over and over and over again, okay? And so there's a way of actually mechanically combining the psychology.
Hey, Jonathan, I think Ty's going to come on for a quick second.
Okay.
See if he hops on. Okay, Jonathan, if you want to keep going until we find him, we'll pull him in and he'll just talk when he's here.
Okay. Yeah, so guys, basically, with e-commerce, what you're going to want to do is try to create a replicable system. And if you see what Ty does, what MentorBox does, it's actually sort of formulaic, and it's based on human psychology that needs to be applied to a mechanical framework. Okay, so if you need to really impress a client, for example, it's a lot better if you can make a Shopify store, a ClickFunnels store that converts in 24 hours or 48 hours. When we have an idea, we can immediately start and get some traction and find out whether or not we have product market fit within 24 or 48 hours, sometimes even faster. And the reason for that is because we have the muscle memory, we have the 10,000 hours to do this quickly, and we have a team. But if you are going to be a one-man band, you need to understand exactly how to organize a landing page in a way that not only is quick, but also converts effectively, okay? So the way that I think about psychology, and you can kind of go to MentorBox as an example of this, and this is a multi 8-figure funnel that just kind of runs on autopilot. So this is one of the most famous funnels out there in the internet. There's a specific way that we approach selling on e-commerce, okay? So first,
hello,
you want to have
everybody.
Okay, Ty's on.
Hey, it's Ty here. Sorry, Jonathan, just pause for 1 millisecond. I do not have good internet when I go to the Amish farm. Next Friday, I should be back in New York, so it'll be easier for me to do next week's call. So thanks for being patient. But the good news is I don't want you only learning from me, because I only can explain things from my perspective. I want you guys to learn from multiple executives and leadership people at my different brands that I own. So Jonathan will do some screen sharing with you a little bit later and actually kind of demonstrate his opinion. He, by the way, before Jonathan came to work for us, his background's in marketing and copywriting. So for those of you who want to learn how to make more persuasive websites, sell more on your website, he's the perfect guy to talk to. So get your questions lined up. He'll talk here and take over, and I'll be back next Friday, knock on wood. And but just how I'm doing it now, I kind of like to do, I like to have it switched up so it's not just always listening to me. I found that people learn more. Everybody's style of teaching appeals to a different group, right? So the way I teach will appeal to some of you, and the way that I teach won't appeal to you. So Jonathan's going to talk here for about 30, 40 minutes, and then Ben will come on and do the final. And Jonathan, just stay on, and Ben will come on and do Q&A. So Ben runs some of my Ty Lopez brands as the co-CEO. So he has a lot of experience. He's also my brother. And so Jonathan, and after Jonathan does a presentation for about 30 minutes, then they'll do 20, 30 minutes of Q&A, alternating between Jonathan and Ben answering. So, yeah, save your questions for me for next Friday. And I'm going to hang up and let Jonathan and take it away. All right, bye.
All right, thanks, Ty. Okay, so let's get back to it. Basically, what I was saying here, just as a recap, is if you're going to go into e-commerce, you want a replicable system, right? Something that you can kind of go back to. You don't want to start from scratch. A lot of times, there's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing every single day. There's a reason why Steve Jobs wore the same thing every day. They don't want distractions about a bunch of crap that they shouldn't necessarily have to be making decisions on. You want to understand best practices and then use best practices over and over and over again so that you can be creative and exciting about things that are more difficult problems to solve. You guys know, like, the word decide in Latin actually means, desire means to cut away. So what you want to do is you want to cut away a lot of the basic stuff that you don't really have to think about, and focus then instead on more interesting problems, like the exact copy or the right product, or optimizing the back end, or which upsell paths, and how to do that effectively. But if you can't just make a website that converts right away very quickly, then you're going to be spinning your wheels for quite a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through our wireframe that we use. It's a very simple wireframe, but it works. And the reason why it works is because it's based on psychology. Okay. So basically, we have this another program called Paradigm Shift, which is $10,000. And this is like the first lesson that I teach in Paradigm Shift. Okay. So your product, whatever your product is, I want you guys to really understand, is just a solution to a problem. That's it. Okay. And the more that you understand that your product is a solution to a problem, the more that you're going to sell. Okay. Because the psychology of them eventually paying you, whether it's a form and then you do a sales call, or a form to a webinar, or I go pretty fast, guys, so we'll take questions at the end, but I'm just going to go through this because a half hour is very short for what I normally teach. So let's say you have a form to a sales call, a form to a webinar, or a form to an in-person event, or you have a Shopify store, or a ClickFunnels store, or a Webflow store, or a WooCommerce store where you're actually collecting money right away through a funnel. Either way, you're taking people on the same psychological journey. It doesn't matter whether it's $10,000 or $5 drop shipping watch. It doesn't matter. You're taking people on the same psychological journey, and that psychological journey always, always, always starts with, I have a problem. That's it. Okay. So the more that you focus on the other person's problem, the better off you're going to be. There's a guy named Donald Miller. I went to Nashville and shot with him. He's one of the lead consultants for Procter & Gamble. If you guys don't know what Procter & Gamble is, they make Huggies and Tide and Febreze, and they're one of the biggest companies in the world. And his main point when he started consulting with them was that they were too obsessed with the features of the product, and they were too obsessed with themselves. Okay. And when they make the switch to obsessing over the problem that the consumer has, the buyer has, your client, if you obsess over their problem and everything to do with their problem, it's going to make the copywriting, Ty told you my background's in copywriting, the copywriting is going to be so much easier, because so many people, they start talking about, like, it's emotional. Let's someone pick a product. Someone put in the chat a product. Josh, can you pick a product?
From anywhere?
Yeah. Just let's pick one.
There's water, t-shirts, lighters, surfboards, cell phones, toilet paper.
Okay, surfboards. Let's use surfboards. So this will be this is like so fast, okay? Surfboards. Really, really bad version of copywriting for surfboards. Really, really bad writing or understanding of what your product is for surfboards would be the plastic ribbed finish. I don't know much about surfboards, but this is sort of like, the coating, that the surfboard has, right? Does that make you feel anything? Are you excited about that? Does that solve your problem? Plastic rib finish? No, I mean, maybe way, 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 way at the very end, buried in some, little piece of the features section of the product. Maybe you say that, but really that's not, no one cares about that, right? Like, ride the waves in style. Okay. Like right off the top of my head, plastic rib finish, ride the waves in style. All of a sudden, like that, oh my God, yes, that feels way better. Okay. So what people are buying, the problem that you're solving for them is, it depends on, if you're selling surfboards, it depends on your niche within the surfboard community. If it's a starter surfboard, then you're going to say, get up with ease, balance with ease, show off to your friends, get up on the first try. This is sort of the problem that people are thinking, I want a surfboard, but I'm probably going to fall down. And if I'm going to fall down, I'm going to feel bad, and I'm going to be embarrassed, and I'm going to feel insecure, and then people are going to laugh at me. And that's really that's the objections that you're going to get. So the problem that you're solving is they want to ride the wave and feel that way, but they don't want to be insecure and do it poorly. So that's your whole world. That's everything that you write is going to be basically about that. Okay? It's not going to be about the design or the features of the product or all that. No one cares. Whereas, let's say if you are, world class, you're selling really expensive surfboards to professionals or something, then maybe you might highlight this kind of stuff a little bit more, but still the psychology of what's the vision for the future that people want, the benefit that they're going to get might be winning the world championships. Imagine what it would feel like to have the gold medal placed around your neck. That's about them. It's not about you. It's not about the product. It's not about the company. It's not about the history. We started in 1987. No one cares. No one cares. Authority is actually the answer to an objection. I want you guys to really understand this. Authority, your authority, right? Which is one of the 6 influences by Robert Cialdini. If you guys just read the 6 influence by Robert Cialdini and then Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, if you haven't read that, then you can't call yourself a marketer, those 2 books. But one of the 6 influencers is, you have to have authority, right? Doctor approved. So that's fine. You should definitely have authority, but that's an answer to an objection. Hey, I don't trust you. Great. I feel like I'm going to, now you've convinced me that I'm going to feel really good on the wave. And it's going to be really easy to get up on the surfboard. Okay, great. But I don't really trust you. Oh, well, I've won 10 world championships. I know. Okay, great. All right. I got it. That's cool. Now I'll go back to the vision. They don't care about you. They don't care about your championships. They don't care about your authority. They don't care about any of these details. Okay? So it's all psychological. So what I want you to do is I want you to build a wireframe very quickly that checks off all the psychological boxes in a very specific order. Okay? So I'll give you the wireframe. So the CTA is going to be different. If you guys, CTA is call to action, right? Which is either usually a form or an opt-in or buy. So you're either getting money right away or you're gathering info for a call or a Zoom so that you can sell something even more, or you're getting an opt-in to put them on an email list or for them to go to a webinar so that you could eventually sell them something, right? But either way, it's one of these 3, okay? And the functioning of the website is actually the same, okay? So you want a headline, you want a VSL, okay? For a form, you put the info right here, name, email, phone number, okay? For not a form, you either do a photo or a benefit stack. And remember, a benefit is like beautiful, radiant skin. A feature would be made with organic coconut oil. Do you buy the cream because it's made with organic coconut oil? Or do you buy it because it's going to give you clear, radiant skin? Remember, problem, problem, problem. What is their problem? What is their problem? What is their problem? What is their problem? Just ask yourself that a million times. You just want to talk about their problem. So you do it a VSL, video sales letter. If you guys don't know, this is interesting. The sales letter is actually from, coming from old, like direct sales. It was in newspapers. So they would write these long letters in newspapers that were disguised as articles. And at the end, you had to mail in a check. And then they would mail back the product, right? So this long, long letter. Then in the late 90s and the early 2000s, this became a sales letter online. And you still see some of these, like Frank Kern is a really good example of this, or Motley Fool. You guys should study other marketers, by the way. Like, you don't have to just come on these lessons. Like every every ad that you get, go through the funnel. Even if you don't buy, just go through, like my team knows, I buy everything. I buy every course you could imagine. I buy every funnel partly because I want to learn. Even if I get one or two things, like Grant Cardone says that when he reads a book, he's just trying to find that $1 million nugget. So I'm just trying to find that $1 million nugget, but I'm also observing the meta structure of how the funnel is done. Do they get my email right away? Is it a Facebook form? Or do they collect it once I go to the landing page? Do they send me to a webinar? Or do they try to sell me something right away? Is the ebook free or is it plus shipping? Is it a physical book? Is it an audio book? Do I have to log in? Do I get a login automatically? That structure of how the whole site works, think about it like when you're, I live in Los Angeles, when you look at billboards, I ask myself, how is this appealing, and if so, why? Not, do I want to watch that movie? Don't be a consumer. Don't just partly you can't help it, because people are at that level very, very good at capturing your attention. But the point being here is that you want to start observing other world-class copywriters, funnel builders, e-commerce experts. What are they doing? What is, the Kardashian, what is the structure of the Kardashians' website? Just copy it. It's, doing a ton of money. Just what are they doing? And why are they doing it that way? Okay. So this is a way to make things, your life a lot easier. Okay. Okay. So they did a sales letter, right? So a sales letter is basically going through the psychological journey. And then at the end, they would, have a buy button. Again, classic. Sean Vossler is really good at this. Frank Kern is really good at this. Motley Fool is really good at this. Just read all of their stuff and you'll get a sense for the psychology. Okay. And then, but this was the reason, why did this happen in the early 2000s? The reason why this happened in the early 2000s was because HTML was new and hard, and there wasn't drag and drop things like Shopify. So then, so this is all they could do, is they just write text. They couldn't design anything. And then eventually Shopify came around and blah, blah, blah. And so then this moved into a video. So it was direct sales, old school style and then it was sales letters, and now it's video sales letters, okay? So this is basically just a commercial, okay? Watch infomercials, deconstruct. What are they doing? When do they talk about testimonials? When do they talk about pain? When do they talk about the vision for the future? When do they answer objections? How do they answer objections? How long do they answer objections versus how, all of this, be a student, don't just mindlessly watch stuff. So there's a headline. There's 3 components to a good headline. Russell Brunson, again, is really good at headlines. Half the battle, guys, is just knowing who to copy, right? So Russell Brunson has basically a 3-part process. He says, how to, and then it's the vision or the benefit. How to get 6-pack abs, whatever, without, and this is actually one of their main objections, without having to leave your couch. And then even if, and this is actually the avatar, who they are, even if you've never worked out in your life. How to get 6-pack abs without having to leave your couch, even if you've never worked out in your life. Okay, they're done. We just did it. This is very formulaic. So you want a headline that basically talks about the vision. It digs into pain a little bit, or answers an objection. And then it talks about the avatar, meaning who's this for? So who is it for? What problem does it solve? And how does it do it in an easy way? That's the headline, okay? Then again, if your product is, let's say, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, it's a form, right? Whereas if it's not, if it's just a direct buy, maybe you have a photo or a benefit stack, and then you have a buy button, okay? So this is called above the fold. And then the next part, how it works. This is a sneaky way of doing this, okay? So above the fold, headline, VSL, photo, or form, buy button. How it works, and this, by the way, goes for, you know, a physical product or a service or educational product. It's all the same. Because think about it. What you're doing is you're like highlighting the problem. Like, yes, I have this problem. Yes, I would like this solution, right? So yes, I have this problem. Yes, I would like the solution. The job of the headline is to get them to watch the VSL. And the VSL should do 90% of the work. But if it doesn't do 90% of the work, then you go to a how it works section. And the first, there's three things this is how it works, guys, okay? First, you buy the product. So there's actually you just rewrite the CTA as the first thing, right? Sign up now, something like that. Then the second, how it works, is the first benefit, okay? So sign up now. Let's say, one of our companies is called Farmer's Cart. Grab your organic box, okay? Second benefit, so that's the CTA. You're actually telling them what to do. So how it works. First, do the thing that we want you to do. Second thing is the immediate benefit. Have an exquisite, delicious family meal, something like that. That's the next thing. And then third, get healthy, save the world. You see how this actually isn't how it works? This isn't features. This is all emotional. You're just telling them, first thing to do, CTA. Second thing, immediate benefit. Third thing, grand vision. That's how it works. That's what's going to happen. If you buy this, you're going to love it, and you're going to change your life forever. It's just, everything's all like sneaky sales, okay? I don't mean sneaky in like a bad way. I mean like, they don't know. You're reading it and you're like, oh, wow, this sounds great. If I do this, if I buy this, then I'm going to have a great meal with my family, and then I'm going to get healthy. That's awesome. Like, that's how it works. Cool. Then, if you have a physical product, they often will do more photos. If you have, let's say, a course, you might do, a photo of like all of the course, photo of like iPod and, screens and that sort of thing. But either way, you have a photo of the product. And then you do I like to do a benefit stack. And so what this is just basically like the 4 or 5 things. If you don't know how to write a benefit stack, ask yourself, what will they have after they buy the product? How will they feel? What will they not have anymore? Elimination of pain. And what will they not feel? If you answer these 4 and then just pick the best ones and write them in there. Then I would have testimonials. And one trick on testimonials, guys, is don't write paragraphs. Have you ever really read like a paragraph testimonial? You might feel, again, this is all going back to being self-obsessed. So a lot of times we're just like, remember, Donald Miller gets paid millions and millions of dollars to basically over and over and over again tell Procter & Gamble, stop obsessing over your product. No one gives a crap about your product. They only care about themselves, and they only care about the solution to their problem, okay? No one cares. You notice we haven't really talked about the problem, or we haven't talked about the product at all. We never got into the, enamel of the whatever, like no one really cares, okay? So same with the testimonials. Testimonials are answer to an objection. So, there's a couple of obvious objections that you're going to hear over and over again, okay? So one of the objections is, the ROI is not there. I actually think there's 6 major objections that I always try to address. Hopefully you guys are taking notes. The ROI is not there. It's not worth it, right? The upside isn't that bad. Then the downside, if I don't do anything, I'm fine. Inaction, the downside of inaction is okay, right? So those are 2 objections. And then the other 4 objections that I always deal with is trust. So 3 of them are from The Wolf of Wall Street, right? So he says that there's 3 major trust objections. Or another way of saying it is that you need to be 10 out of 10 certain. They need to trust you, they need to trust the company and the product. And then I think the final trust is they don't trust themselves. You always see that. Well, you don't understand me. I'm different. My situation is different. People are victims, right? They always have an excuse for why they can't do anything. It's easier. It's easier to like be a victim, right? Than to find a way no matter what. So you're always going to have to address the but my situation is different. I know that this is going to solve my problem. I know that it's the best solution to the problem that you could ever imagine. And I know that I trust you and I trust the product and I trust the company and everything. But you don't know my situation. I'm different. I didn't have this education. I don't have this money. Whatever. So you always have to eventually answer that objection. Depending on the product, you have to address it more or less. Like for example, with software, they might say, okay, sounds great, but my team's not technical. Sorry, that sort of thing. Or you might have an objection for yourself. Oh yeah, this sounds great, but I don't understand Shopify. It's like, well, did you type in how to do Shopify and then watch the first 40 videos, or did you go into the Ty Lopez courses or the MentorBox courses and watch the videos that are available for that? If you didn't do all of them and take notes and try and then you're making an excuse for yourself. You're telling yourself a story that that isn't necessarily true. So my point is that everyone, just like me, just like you, just like everyone, always is going to have a potential problem with themselves. But here, this testimonials, what you're doing here with the test, remember the first thing I said was there's the psychology and then there's the mechanics. So this is the mechanics of how to address the psychology. So think about what's happening here. So the headline is,
hey, Jonathan, before you keep going, this is Tyler. Can you try to write and draw a little bit bigger? People in the chat are just having trouble reading because of the low resolution.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
I assume everyone's going to, and here's another thing, guys, like, watch this kind of stuff back if you have to. Is this better? This better?
I think you're good right there. You can just
Yeah, that's a little bit better, more visible.
do this.
You're going to have to draw in the top half only.
It's okay. Okay, so what's the psychology? I saw an ad, I watched a YouTube video, I listened to a podcast, I saw your blog, I saw your Google ad, I saw, an affiliate, I read your email, whatever. You get people to the page. There's 4 problems in e-commerce, by the way. Just like quick side note. Is you got to pick the right product. Then you have to have, the sales page that actually works, which is what we're talking about today. And then you have to get people to show up to that sales page effectively and cheaply and for the right people. And then you have to, eventually sell them more either through a subscription or upsells, right? So this is like LTV. This is cost per acquisition. This would be like cost per lead or cost per click, right? So we're just talking about this part today. And actually, I'm just talking about the first part, which is the landing page. But, once you pick a product, you got to make a landing page very quickly, okay? So this whole thing, remember, is just a machine that solves people's problems. Like, I have this problem, I go through your machine, and I'm happy, and in exchange, you give me money. That's all business. That's it. So you need to build this machine, and if you're going to do e-commerce for yourself or other people, you need to be able to build this machine at scale quickly so you can solve better problems, okay? You don't need to worry about stuff that you should already know. So the psychology is, yes, this is me. The headline says basically like ding, 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 yes, this is me. Yes, I have this problem. And yes, I kind of like the idea of that solution. That's all the headline does, right? Then they say, but tell me more. Prove it. How good is it going to be? Right? What's the downside? What if it doesn't work? Like, you already know what they're going to say, right? So the VSL should do all of that. That's a different class, but The idea is that they're intrigued enough to have these questions, because they could be watching Netflix, but instead they have these questions. So hopefully the VSL does all of the work for you. But now you're taking them down the next stage, and they're like, okay, maybe I'm sold. Okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? Well, how it works. Why did we say this? The first one is, do you remember? CTA, first benefit, big value. So what do I do now? Oh, CTA, okay? Wait, but, I mean, you've been through this, right? Think about it. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I have this problem. Okay, solution sounds good. Hear the pitch. All right, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm 90% of the way there, but what do I do? Oh, I do this. Well, I'm gonna still scroll because I'm not really sure. You know, let me prove it a little bit more, okay? So then the next section, you know, like the first objection, you're starting to answer objections really, right? So they're gonna say, yeah, this is what's going through their head, by the way. And this is what's actually on the page. So yeah, but, and then they have a bunch of objections. And you remember, does anyone know what the 6 objections were that I just went through? Write them in the chat if you guys remember. What's the first objection that we're going to answer? Think about this. This is crazy. The psychology. Yes, it's me. Yes, I have this problem. Yes, I have this solution. Okay, I hear the pitch. Okay, what do I do now? Yeah, but not really ready to pull the trigger. And then you're going to watch, guys, systematically, we're going to answer objections.
People are all saying ROI isn't there. ROI not there.
Yep. ROI is not there. Downside is not that bad. Right? Okay, yeah, that sounds great, but, you know, I'm fine. Right? Downside's not that bad. And then you remember, starts with the T. What are the other 4? They all have to do with what? Anyone get it? Josh?
Trust.
Trust, yeah. So there's 4 trusts. Anyone remember all 4? 3 of them are from Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort.
Trust you, trust company, trust product, trust themselves.
Yes. Who was that?
That's HF.
HF?
Yeah, I don't know.
Congratulations, HF. You're on your way. So you, company, product, and self. Okay? So we're going to systematically, now they're basically sold, right? They've been taken on the journey and they're basically sold. Now they need to be taken over the line. You probably, I don't know, did anyone know that this is why landing pages are organized the way that they are? You're actually just taking them on a psychological journey, okay? So then the next part is the ROI worth it, right? And if the ROI worth it is a benefit stack, right? So remember I said, you know, have another picture of your product or whatever it may be, and then a benefit stack is actually just vision for the future. This is all the upside, 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 right? Which kind of answers the second objection as well, in a way. Sometimes the downside is only relevant in like very high ticket stuff, okay? Because this is usually dealing with people that their lives are like pretty spectacular. So by setting the vision so high, you're kind of also simultaneously, you know, the distance between, you know, this is where they are, and after they buy your product, they're going to be here. So that distance, this is ROI, and then the distance between this is the downside. Does that make sense? So you're kind of doing this, you're kind of doing both at the same time. But you have to really nail the benefit stack. Okay, then you do testimonials, and testimonials answer all 3 trusts. Do I trust you? Do I trust the company? Do I trust the product? Testimonial, 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 testimonial. Going back to what I said, think like billboards. They say something like spectacular, marvelous, you know, best actor, best film of the year, like maximum 4 or 5 words. So if you have a testimonial for someone, even if it's a video, don't write long paragraphs. No one cares. Okay, just pick out the best thing. Don't pick out, like, if they say, for example, let's say for a movie, I say, best. I know that they were trying to create the best picture, but in fact, it was garbage. Like, okay, then you can't type best picture on a billboard, because that would, it's incongruous with what their intentions were. But if their intentions were, over this 5-sentence paragraph to basically say, increased sales by 50%, or, my children loved it, or, whatever the thing is, just, my children loved it. That's good, with a face. Faces. Anyone know All Six Influencers by Robert Cialdini? One of them is, what's the one that has to do with human faces?
No one yet.
No one?
No one yet.
Can you guys still hear me?
Social proof. Ricardo said social proof.
Yeah, social proof is a good one. Social proof is many faces.
Familiarity. Facial bias.
Yeah, so these are all similar, but the way he describes it is likability. So likability is like, likability is human faces, or like a human face that you trust. And then social proof is kind of like an aggregate of human faces that you trust, right? So likability, social proof. So you're kind of doing, all at the same time. And if you have a lot of testimonials, guys, just like use a lot of testimonials. Like there's hardly a reason why you wouldn't use anyone that's good. But just remember that, and this is this is important, because most of your sales are going to actually come from mobile. So I know I wrote this. This is kind of a desktop version, but the mobile will be headline, VSL, either form or buy, depending on what it is, right? The CTA. And then how it works, and it'll be circle, 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 right? And then it'll be photo, and then benefit stack, right? And then it'll be testimonials, and then it'll be, just forever down. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's very important that anytime someone wants to pull the trigger, you give them a CTA button. So every single section should have a CTA. So if the whole point of this with testimonials is if you see that? Mm-hmm. So as people scroll, you want to give them a buy button or a way to, if it's a form, it'll, auto-populate the form. You want to give it to them every, 2 thumb scrolls, basically. So you can, if you do 25 testimonials, nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that if they're, every 4th or 5th one, they can buy, or they can click on the button, okay? So where are we at with the psychology, guys? So we've answered ROI, we've answered the downside, we've answered trust, but now they have to trust themselves. And the only way to really get people to trust themselves is to do to kind of speak to them one-on-one, right? Because you have to destroy their false beliefs. This is also, Russell Brunson talks about this a lot. Russell Brunson, says that in order to sell something to someone, they're on their own hero's journey, right? And they want to get to this point. Even if you're selling them a watch or some, local service, it doesn't matter. A dentist, whatever, it's all the same. They have a problem. And if they solve this problem, they're closer to getting to their ideal version of themselves. They have more money. They have more esteem, right? They have more freedom.
Hey, John, I'm going to cut in really quick again. When you're using acronyms like CTA and VSL, I think you typically give them when you first use them, but if you can maybe reiterate what they are every once in a while. We have a lot of
CTA is called, okay, good. So this would be the VSL, video sales letter, commercial. CTA buy button. So let me repeat, every so often as they're scrolling, you need to have a buy button. Or if it's you want to get them to fill out a form, it's a button that redirects them to the form so you can get their information. Call to action, right? And by the way, if you notice that I didn't talk about an About Us section and a blog and you know, our history, like no one cares, like they don't care. If you're going to pay for their attention, either with your time or with your money, just give them one option. They either buy, or you get their pixel and then you retarget them later, but that's a little bit more advanced. So, and for a different class. But a pixel is, I feel like I sometimes go a little too fast, but a pixel is basically like a code that you put on the website so that you know basically what happens to anyone that comes on the website. So back to this. You know, Ty talks about this before. Like, why does everyone do anything? They do it for money or esteem or like social hierarchy position, or they do it for freedom, or they do it for mating or love. So this is kind of like, they want all the money, they want, you know, all the esteem, and they want all the freedom, and they want all the love. That's what they want. But right now, they need a damn marker that works, because in order to, you know, in order to teach well in your course, you need to, you know, be able to have, you know, markers that perform, you know, well under pressure, and even if the lights are coming on, and you know, they're clear and vibrant. So my small problem right now, in order to get here, which is my grand vision for my life, you know, my legacy, my destiny, right? These big words. This is, everyone buys this. You guys ever heard of Seth Godin just came up with a new book. I'm kind of obsessed with this story. But he talks about this study of this professor at Harvard Business School. And he says, you guys, you go to Home Depot and you buy a drill bit. Has anyone ever heard this story before? You guys know the punchline? So you go to, it's an interesting marketing idea. No? Okay. So you go to Home Depot and you buy a drill bit. Are you really buying a drill bit? What are you buying? Money, esteem, freedom, love. That's what we do everything for. So what are you really buying? Well, you're buying a hole, right? Because you want a hole. But are you really buying a hole? Oh, you're buying a shelf you want to put up. Are you really buying a shelf? Or are you buying a compliment from your wife? Right? Where she feels proud of you that you put up the shelf and it looks nice. Or are you maybe you're buying it so that you feel organized. And what happens if you feel organized? You perform. And what happens if you perform? You have more money, right? So the point is that you're not actually buying a drill bit. You're buying more money because you're buying more organization. You're buying esteem because you want a compliment from your wife. Maybe you're buying love from your wife as well. But if you don't ever sell a drill bit, no one cares about a drill bit, okay? That's the whole point. So people care about the grand future of their life, what they want in the big time, the long term. So you have this problem, and I just need to get here. If I can just get here, then I can continue on. And in order to get here, I got to solve this problem of I need a marker. But know that you're not selling a marker, you're still selling this. That's what I'm talking about. Problem relative to them. Notice that you're not involved. You don't know, you are like, you're like Yoda, right? You're helping Luke Skywalker. But Luke Skywalker doesn't really care about Yoda. He cares about his vision and his, saving the planet. You're just a helper. Your product is just a helper along the way. Okay? So in order to get them to believe in themselves enough to use this product effectively, sometimes you have to be a little bit of a motivational speaker. You have to kind of kick them in the butt a little bit, get them motivated, get them excited, make them believe in themselves. And the best way to do that is to get them to believe in a story that they connect with. And the real best way to do that is if it's yourself. So this is the power of sales letters, okay? And this is Russell Brunson. He says, everyone, they have a problem, and then they have a vision for the solution, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get there. They're like, I'm confused. I don't know how to get there. And your product or service or whatever it is, they're like a boat, a vessel. You take people along the journey and you give them an ability to manifest this vision. But in exchange, they give you a little bit of money. This is every product, guys. This is, if you are buying weights or shoes or markers or a massage or, food or education, it doesn't matter. It's all this. This is the whole game you're playing. And you're just a little part of their hero's journey, and they're going to forget about you or whatever it may be. But you need to solve their problem so that they can get along the way. And along the way, if they believe that your boat is a theoretical answer, they might have a false belief. You guys know the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich? It's funny. It's belief. You have to believe first. Nothing happens unless you have an idea of it first. So some people have false beliefs, which is holding them back. And because it's holding them back, they won't even try your product because they just don't believe in the whole idea. So in order to break that final objection, a really good way is to walk them through a journey where you tell them a story of someone else who was just like them, that had just like their problem, exactly. And they had just their thoughts and just their same ideas and just their same objections and their same hangups, their same worries. But they had a revelation. They were going along this path, failure, 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 false belief, no answer, not the right answer. And then they found the secret. And the secret was eliminating a false belief. And because of that, they were able to find the real answer, which was ultimately this product or service, which was able to get them back on the journey. Okay? So it's kind of confrontational if you tell the person directly. You say, I know, you think this and that, and you think blah, 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 but you're wrong. The truth is, if you bring people into that energy, they're going to feel that confrontation, and then they might not like you, and they might not trust you, and then you're kind of going back to square one, right? Whereas if you use yourself or someone else as an avatar, let me tell you a story. So my name is Jonathan, and much like you, I used to be and you tell the story, right? And you say what your problem used to be, right? You talk about what you wanted, the vision that you wanted. You talked about how you wanted this theoretical life, but you just didn't know how to do it, right? And then you had all these problems. And this person that's reading or watching this is like, damn, this is checking up. Yeah, I had that problem too. I had that vision too. Oh man, you're like, I wanted that too. Yeah, I had all these problems too. But guess what I discovered? That makes sense. You want them to be like, a light bulb. How do you draw a light bulb? Yeah, light bulb. You want them to be like, they want to have like an aha moment. And if they have an aha moment, then that aha moment breaks their false belief and allows them, and it gives them trust in themselves, and then they buy the product. And so the best way to do this is to tell a story about yourself, or you can choose one of your avatar customers or whatever it may be. But the way you do this is then you do an old school sales letter and you actually write them a letter. So like dear, dear customer, or from the, go to, what is Sean Vossler's, Tyler, what is Sean Vossler's page? Impact?
Isn't it like Thrive Academy?
No. Anyways, there's a really great example of this sales letter style. If you can find it, let me know. But anyways, you're answering the final objection here at the end with the letter. You'll notice a lot of our Increase Academy. Yeah. Everyone go to Increase Academy after this.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And read his sales letter. He goes through this he goes through this perfectly. He's world class. But study it. You'll probably end up buying his book, and you should buy the book. But try to deconstruct what he's doing. So now, guys, what do we have here? We have, remember I told you we're going to do a wireframe that systematically goes through the psychological triggers. It's very, you're like, oh, I need to make a website for my customer, or a Shopify store for my customer, or it's just like, that sounds so daunting. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of crazy because you're like, what goes where and how and why, and you want it to trigger the right things, but how do you do that effectively? And so depending on, let's say this is also, guys, don't be so strict here. If you have print on demand t-shirt store or something and you have 50 different items, it's going to be slightly different because you're going to have a lot of different products, right? But basically there's going to be a headline. Does anyone remember the three things that a headline has to talk about?
Gabriel said VSL, that's only one. The solution, pain, problem, solution. The result, VSL, no. Solution, which is the problem. Vision, first CTA.
Yeah,
Problem, solution, objection.
So we're missing it. We're missing one. So we're kind of systematically going through the first section. So the VSL is here, the CTA is here. Remember, this is either a form or a photo, depending on the price point of the product. And the headline, for sure, has to talk about pain and the vision or the solution. But what's the one thing that's missing?
Image? No.
No, just the headline, the words.
Objection?
Nope.
Trust, story, goal, CTA, audience, avatar.
Avatar. Who said that?
That is from the first one that said it was Alex.
Alex. Okay. Remember, because think about it right away. Think about the reason why this is. The headline, remember, how to without even if. This is Russell Brunson. You guys know who Russell Brunson is? Master of headlines. Why does he say that you should do this? How to without even if. You guys notice anything? How to, this is the vision or the solution, without this pain, even if you are avatar. It's formulaic, guys. It's a formula. You have to address their pain, you have to set a vision, and you have to tell them, hey, by the way, this is for you. In the headline, right away. So he's come up with a formula. How to get up on a surfboard your first time without embarrassing yourself, even if you've never gone surfing before ever. You've never gone surfing ever again. You see how this is like so simple? And then you do a VSL, CTA. Remember, picture or form depending on the price. You guys know, who knows in the next section?
People are saying, holy crap, amazing. Golden nuggets, story. Someone said, please stop doing circles. Benefits, DSL, benefits, how it works.
How it works.
How it works. That was Ria's.
What's the first how it works? What's the psychology? What are we telling them? What is the point of this one? Guys, everything's a formula, I'm telling you.
CTA.
Yes, CTA. So then what's the second one? Call to action. Like what to do, which is buy or sign up.
Benefit.
Yeah, exactly. Immediate benefit. And then what's the third one?
Grand vision.
Yep.
Grand vision.
Yes. Guys are crushing. Okay. What's the next section?
Testimonials, vision, urgency, pain, benefit stack.
Benefit stack. Why is that, guys? Because what's the first of the objections?
Someone said grand vision, benefit stack, more money on back end, trust, ROI.
ROI is the first one. So how do you set the ROI? Benefit. You'll get this and this and this and this and this, and your life will be like this and this. And that's ROI. That's, oh my God, in a photo. So guys, this is very connected. The psychology with what you're putting. Okay. Then what's after benefit stack? Some of you guys already said it.
Someone said testimonials.
Testimonials, exactly. Why? Because we're answering what objection with testimonials?
Social proof, someone said trust.
Yeah, all of the trust. Let's try it again. Who knows the 4 trusts?
You product company themselves. Trust the company.
Yep, good. Killing it. Okay. Then, what did I say about the quotes? Should they be long or should they be short?
Short, small, short.
Yep.
Short.
Good. You want to know a really advanced way? Guys, this is really advanced. You guys ready for this? Even this can be dimensionalized into the different types of customers or the different types of objections. So let's say that this person says, fast delivery, and this person says quick delivery. Is that good or bad?
Percentage data. Bad.
Bad. It's bad. Why? Because you can use this to answer another objection. So you already checked off that, hey, I don't trust that you're going to deliver very fast. Well, answer that objection. So now we answered that objection. Why would we answer it again? Unless your product only has, one major core thing that you have to convince people over and over again. But usually there's a couple reasons, right? So fast delivery and high quality, right? And let's say they it works, immediate, effective immediately, something like that, right? So the point is that even these, you can dimensionalize. This is another layer deeper. You can dimensionalize the psychology for answering multiple objections. So this is all answering objections, but you can even dimensionalize which objections are answered. Okay, so then they have the final objection. What is the final objection? Trust. They don't trust. What's the final objection?
Themselves.
Yeah, themselves. So they don't, if you're confrontational about basically, if they don't believe in themselves, it's a false belief that you have to destroy. And if you're confrontational about it, they're not going to receive it very well. So this is where a sales letter comes in. Okay, so you write a long letter. And remember, you have a button every so often. Okay. Now, I'll just give you a quick lesson on checkout pages. So I gave you basically the wireframe for whether it's a any store. And then you have a checkout page. This is where they actually give you money. So easy way to do this, guys, is just do testimonial reviews like stack. Do a money back guarantee. Do a headline, photos of the product, and then do a massive benefit stack. And then they fill in their information. That's a classic checkout. Don't overthink it. Let me write this a little bit bigger, okay? So photos of the product, headline to them, remind them. You always have price crossed out. Then you have benefit stack of everything that they're going to get. Then they fill out their information here. And depending on the size and logistics of the page, you have money back guarantee here. And then the rest of it can be testimonials all the way down. And then if you have a Shopify store, you should also put, other products you may like. Right? And then, a more advanced version of this is the once they buy, then you do upsells, right? Or downsells. And then they go to a thank you page, and then you send them emails and social media, and you sell them more and blah, blah, blah. But that's the wireframe. So hopefully this makes it easy for you guys. If you have someone who needs to buy something from you, or you have to make a store for someone else, you can just use this very simple wireframe, and then you don't need to overthink it. Just do this and it'll work. So you guys want to ask me some questions? Is Ben on?
Yeah, Ben's coming on, and people are saying great. Like, there are so many comments coming in saying, thank you, this is amazing, great stuff, Jonathan, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's a lot of praise. Yeah, you can let them know to start asking some. And I hear someone. Can this be done in Shopify?
Hey, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ben? Ben's there. All right.
Hey. How's it going? Jonathan, do you want to answer? I think people probably have questions.
Yeah.
So let's here's they're coming.
Can this be done in Shopify? For sure, 100%. If you make a really, if you want to do like a one product funnel or a couple product funnel, you can. There's a bunch of apps and plugins that you can use. Zipify is a really easy one that you use with Shopify, and you can make a funnel really, really fast.
What are some of your favorite books on this topic?
I would go through the entire Russell Brunson series to get an idea of how funnels work. So he has .com secrets, expert secrets, traffic secrets, and copywriting secrets. And I think he just came out with a new one that's not written by him, but he wrote the foreword, which is called Unfair Advantage. So if you just read all 5 of those, that's like a history of like modern funnel theory.
Is Google Trends best for Shopify products?
I mean, it's a good tool to know, what, if you're doing drop shipping or you have access to a lot of products or, a warehouse or something like that. Or if you're doing print on demand, for example, and you want to know, like what's trending in politics or something, and you make a quick design and put it up on your website, then yeah, for sure. It also is good for getting traffic. We didn't really talk about traffic today, but let's say you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram account or something like that. Dan Fleischman talks about this a lot, where you obviously want to build your own brand, and you want to have your own authority and your own intellectual property and your own opinions about things. But a good way of kind of riding a wave is every so often throw in an opinion about something that's trending or hot. And if you throw in maybe it goes viral, and if you created the content in an effective way, then you should have a CTA at the end of the content. And even if it's, you know, a CTA in your profile page or, you know, in the description of the YouTube channel or whatever it may be, or let's say you have a podcast and, you know, you're always on the cutting edge of, you know, whatever's happening in the news, and but the CTA at the end of that podcast is, you know, go to, you know, mywebsite.com, then you're basically getting a lot of, you could potentially go viral easier, right? Just think about the psychology of it. Like, if something is going viral, what does that mean? That means that, or an idea is going viral, or a news story is going viral. What does that mean? That means a lot of people are searching for it, and it's on a lot of people's minds, right? But what does it also mean? It means that there's not a lot of content on it because it's young. It's a baby, right? It's a baby idea. So you have a lot of demand and not a lot of supply. So if you can consistently supply whatever demand is happening with that wave, then over and over and over and over and over again, let's say you know, this is very Gary Vee way of saying this, but like, imagine if every day you went on Google Trends and made a hour-long YouTube video about the hottest thing in your niche that's trending, and, you know, you went live, but the CTA at the end of it always was go to mywebsite.com, you'd probably get a lot of free traffic. Now, it's not free in the sense of it costs you your time, and you better kind of know what you're talking about, so you should be an industry expert, or it might backfire and you might be kind of infamous rather than famous. But yeah, I mean, Google Trends can be good. Long story short, Google Trends is good both for getting cheap traffic if you're a content creator, whether it be a blog or podcast or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or whatever, in order to get traffic to your site for a product that feels more evergreen, or you know, you can use it to you know, ride the wave of a specific product. But you have to have a supply chain that, you know, you can access.
Can you let them know the recording will be available? A lot of people are asking.
Yeah, the recordings will be available. I know I talk really fast and I scribble all over the place, but hopefully this was valuable.
Someone asked, is copywriting a profitable job?
Yeah, it's one of the most profitable jobs because it's, so for example, you know, a coder used to get paid, you know, $50,000, $100,000 to make a website 20 years ago. And now you can make a website yourself, or, you know, you can pay someone a couple $1,000s for a basic website. And, you know, if you're super high level, then yeah, you know, you're going to pay $30,000, $50,000 for sure, even if it's a Shopify website. But that's like, you know, an 8-figure company where they know, you know, you better really know what you're doing. It's not just making it pretty, it's to convert. So the evolution of coding, for example, is interesting because, you know, you have to be better and better and better and better and better to still get paid a lot. But that's because technology is making it easier. But you know what technology is not going to make it easier? Understanding human psychology and communicating with humans to humans. That's like the last thing that AI is ever going to do. The last thing that a computer is ever going to do is going to, on the fly, understand human psychology and connect. I mean, you know, I went fast today and I tried to make it simple for you guys, but you know, that's a complex shit. Like, why are we buy anything, and how do we pull the right cognitive biases and combine the influencers in just the right way with just the right wireframe in order to get someone to buy your product, because really you're solving their problem. And that, like, that's a complex emotional, journey that you have to take someone on. And so, you know, copywriting, I think, is going to be one of the last things to go. And the ROI is massive. Like, we have some clients in our, we have a program called Paradigm Shift, which is a, you know, high level mastermind program. And, you know, we have a couple of clients that have changed their headline, and they said, oh yeah, you know, I got this $2 million deal because I changed my headline. Or, you know, I changed some copy on this website, and, you know, all of a sudden my ROAS is going from, you know, 2x to 4x, something like that. So when you have something that not a lot of people understand because it's really complex, and it's something that technology basically can't take over anytime soon, and it's something that every single business needs, because even if a business is like, oh, I don't need copywriting, like, do you have a menu? Do you have a sign? Like, when you walk in the door, like, every word is copy. So every company uses copy. So your potential clients, if you're a copywriter, are every business in the world. So that's, pretty big supply. And you're never going to have to compete against AI, and it's a difficult problem. So yeah, it's very lucrative if you can do it well.
It's kind of a basic question, but why is it called copywriting?
Oh, I mean, well, originally I think it was like from printing. So it's like writing for like the newspapers that would be copied.
Is it better to have a testimonial with or without photo?
With. 1,000%.
Is Shopify best for large inventories or 2,000 plus products, etc.?
Yes. Can you hear him reading this?
I just realized.
Sorry. Sorry. Wait, let's go back.
Yeah, so we could start there because I think that was the most in-depth one. Is Shopify the best for large inventories to 2,000 plus products?
Is Shopify the best for large inventories? Yes. Or WooCommerce, but Shopify is better.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable a Shopify website can be? Plus, well, that doesn't make sense actually. I think they're just making the comments. Let's see what else. Asking about recording. Best way to create a funnel with Shopify.
Yeah, I mean, just rewatch. I just told you exactly what to do, the wireframe. So this is a structure that you can use any website for. So the software doesn't matter, really. The harder part is organizing the wireframe and writing the copy and creating an offer that's compelling and having product market fit. Like, the software doesn't really matter as much.
Luis is asking, Jonathan, where do you teach this high level stuff? Do you teach this in MentorBox or any of the other programs?
Yeah, I teach in all sorts of programs. I'm in MentorBox. I'm in Paradigm Shift. I'm in a lot of Ty's programs, Knowledge Society. I teach in other.
How much to hire you?
Oh.
Different, they can DM you.
Yeah. A lot.
Let's see. Okay. Someone keeps asking, what is the best way to upsell?
Upsell, yeah. Okay, so I can do this real quick. So you have your core product, and then you usually have like a bump. This would be like burger with fries. I stole this from Alex Mayer. But a bump is like a checkbox that they check off when they're buying. And then you have another page that usually just has a headline and a video. And then a yes or no, do you want to add this or not? And then if they say, no, I don't want it, you give them the same offer, but cheaper. And if they say, yes, I want it, then you give them another offer. And then you send them to a thank you page. So you basically, in order to really do a clean upsell path, you say, what's my core product? What's a bump that's sort of like very congruent? So like shoes with socks. And then afterwards, you pick another product. So maybe like a running outfit or a workout program, something like that. And if they say no, then you say, oh, well, I know I told you it was $99, but what if it's $49? And then if they say yes or no, you send them to a thank you page. Some people will send them to the second upsell anyways, but depends on how aggressive you want to be with your brand. It depends on your ROAS. It depends on, I mean, that's a little bit more advanced, but ROAS is return on ad spend. So if your return on ad spend for this core product is 5x or something, then maybe you don't need to upsell as much because you're already making money on the front end. So you don't want to hurt the brand. You just go straight to the thank you page. But if your ROAS is 0.75 or something, then you're actually losing money. So you need to increase the average order value or the average cart value. And the way to do that is to do upsells. So you have a bump then you have another upsell and another upsell. So if you want to do upsells, you ask yourself, what's the core product, or Alex calls this the beachhead product? And then you have a bump product, and then you have upsell 1, and some people do upsell 2, and then thank you page. So, you know, any like really strong funnel, you could just have 4 products.